Hi, me again. Okay, this is video number 2 for the evening, and I promise it's the last one for tonight. Unless something pisses me off tomorrow and I make another one. Anyway, something else I wanted to talk about is what some people might call a series of unfortunate coincidences. However, I would not be one of those people. Anyway, maybe you've noticed over the past 3.5, almost 4 years, that a lot of food processing plants in this country have either caught fire or had explosions which destroyed the plants. No big deal, right? It's just food processing plants. Probably doesn't matter to those who are able to have their own garden, raise their own livestock, but to some of us who don't have access to that kind of land or the knowledge to do that sort of thing, it's nice to be able to go to a grocery store. And it's also nice to be able to afford the groceries at that grocery store. But enough of that silliness. I would ask you, based on what you've seen, and again, in the comments section or the links section below this video, I'm going to post some links for you. But I would ask you, in your time on this planet, do you remember this many food processing plants being destroyed? All accidentally, of course. I'm sure it was merely an accident, careless employees or something of that sort. I'm 67 years old. Now, I know some of you are looking at me and thinking, oh, come on, Floyd, you don't look that old. Yeah, I know that's what you're thinking. Anyway, and in my time on this planet, both before and since the advent of the internet, I don't remember, at least it wasn't reported in the news as often, but I don't remember this many food processing plants having these issues. Do any of you? Is there a period in their history where you remember seeing a lot of this happen? I just don't remember it. So, right away you start thinking, or at least I do. I know some of you don't like to think about this stuff. It's easier just to watch the TV and believe what they tell you. But I think about stuff, and I ask questions, and I wonder why this is happening. What's causing this to happen? And there's a series of events leading up to this that I would hope, would cause any rational person with a healthy amount of skepticism to wonder why. Let's start with something like this. Let's start with Bill Gates. What do we know about Bill Gates? What things has he said in the last few years that stand out in your mind? I know for me, one of them is the fact that he wants to depopulate the planet. Oh, Floyd, that's not what he said. Yeah, actually, in so many words, that is exactly what he said. He wants to help reduce the planet's population because we're just overcrowded. I mean, there's just not enough room on this planet for all these people. How are we going to do that? Well, one way is vaccines. I posted that video recently. If you haven't seen it yet, let me know. I'll find the link for you and send it to you, where he talks about we need to reduce the Earth's population. One of the ways we can do that is through vaccines. What? Well, I don't know about you, but I've always understood vaccines to be for good health, to help people survive and live longer. How do you depopulate a planet with vaccines unless there's something in that vaccine that's not good for you? I don't know. Call me crazy. Now, we also know Bill Gates has bought stock in certain companies that produce foods. He's bought stock in Pepsi and Coca-Cola, places like that. He's talked about, the chemicals that they can put in foods and how they can get into your system. You don't think Bill Gates has a plan? The man's a psychopath. He's insane. That just because he's filthy, stinking rich doesn't mean he's not crazy. Now we find out that he owns, let me see here, Bill Gates owns over 242,000 acres of farmland over 18 states here in the United States. He is the single largest owner of farmland in the country. Not a corporation, not a conglomerate. Bill Gates owns the majority of farmland in this country. Why? When did he become a farmer? Unless there's something he either A, wants to put in the food that other food producers would not, or B, maybe he's not going to use it for farmland at all. Well, Floyd, why would you say that? Well, he's also the guy who wants you to eat bugs. He's also the guy who wants you to eat fake meat, lab-produced meats. Now, if I want you to eat the food that I demand that you eat, how best to do that? Maybe by not creating food through any other sources? Maybe leaving you with few choices if you want to eat something at all? I don't know, just something to think about. I mean, we all know Bill Gates is a philanthropist and loves people and wants to do what's best for everyone, right? Sure. We also know that the communist Chinese government owns over 380,000 acres of land. 380,000 acres of land. Now, not all of that is farmland, but a good chunk of it is. And I'm sure the Biden family is doing real well with that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we've got all these plants blown up. We've got trains with dangerous chemicals on them derailing. Anybody checked with Palestine, Ohio yet? That just kind of disappeared from the news, didn't it? I wonder what the water's like up there. Anybody drinking the water? Anybody live in Palestine or near it? Anybody heard anything in the news from Palestine lately? Not the one in the Middle East, the one in Ohio. Okay. Biochemical lab in Georgia just recently blew up. I'm sure that big cloud I saw in the video isn't going to hurt anything. It'll just be dissipated in the wind and do no harm. And again, it just seems to me like this is happening an awful lot. And nobody seems to be curious about it. No one seems to be worried beyond that single incident. They don't want to talk about it as if it's a plan, as if there's some coordination behind all this. And again, I can only go by what I've heard some people say and what I've seen them do, and then what's happening after they have said and done these things. Food processing plants, that many of them. I'm gonna post something in here for you, but just so you have some idea, I'm going to read from a list here. List of all food processing plants that have burned down, blown up, or destroyed under U.S. government of 2021 to 2022. Now, who's in the White House in 2021 and 2022? I'll have to get back to you on that one. Anyway, and this is just 2 years. Okay. Here's a compiled. They spelled compiled wrong. Here's a compiled list of nearly 96 fires from 2021 and 2022. Let's go back to April 30th, 2021. Monmouth Smithfield Foods pork processing plant. July 25th, 2021. Memphis Kellogg plant. August 13th, 2021. JBS beef plant. All right, let's jump forward a little bit here. Let's get up. Man, I'm not even out of 2022 yet. I'm on the second page. April 28th of 2022, 110,700 turkeys destroyed in Barron, Wisconsin. 4/29/22, 1,336,200 chickens destroyed at Farm Weld, Colorado. That's W-E-L-D, Weld, Colorado. May 10th of 2022, 61,000 ducks destroyed at Duck Farm, Berks, Pennsylvania. And again, this is about 100 of them just from 2 years. This doesn't even cover the last 4 or 5 years. So again, I ask the question, is this normal to you? I mean, does anything about this strike you as just a little odd, especially given what we know about how easily our Congress can be bought and how easily certain agencies within our government can be bought? And who do we know who has a lot of money and doesn't mind spending it to get his way? You might think George Soros, that would certainly be one of them, but let's not leave Bill Gates out of the mix. And like I said, if you listen to the man, if you watch the way he acts and what he talks about, he is a freaking psychopath. He should scare the shit out of you. I know he scares me, not like on an individual basis. I mean, I think I could take him. But in the fact that he's willing to spend his money to do more harm than good. But again, believe what you want to believe. All I can go by is what I see, what I hear, and what's going on around me. Oh, let's see what else we got going on here. So we've talked about Bill Gates. We've talked about China and how much land they own in America. And I'm sure there's nothing nefarious behind any of that. Yeah, because Bill Gates, I'm sure you've noticed throughout his history, he's often talked about wanting to be a farmer, right? That's one of the big things he wants to do. If Bill Gates invests money in anything, you have to know he's doing it to benefit himself and advance his agenda. Now, ordinarily, I would say, well, of course, any businessman would do that, but not when what you advocate for is harmful to others. And if you're advocating reducing, look up the word reduce. If you're advocating for reducing the population and then these sort of things happen, aren't you just a little curious? Doesn't it make you want to scratch your head and go, no, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? Or is that just me? Is it only us crazy conspiracy nuts who think that way? I mean, because it's never, I'm sure you've never had anything done to you or anybody lie to you about something that's, I don't know what else to tell you. It just fascinates me that so few people seem skeptical about any of this stuff. And then when someone like me comes along and tries to explain it, or at least present it and ask you to look into it or think about it, you get mad with me. I'm not the one buying up all the farmland. I'm not the one trying to make you eat bugs or fake meat. I'm not the one trying to reduce the world's population. So I don't know why the hell you'd be mad at me. I'm not trying to do anything that would harm you or take anything from you or restrict your liberties or your rights. But you want to be mad at me when I challenge those people that I see as trying to do those things. It doesn't make sense to me. I literally sit around sometimes and just think to myself, how can people be that damn stupid? How can they not see what's going on? Why are they getting mad at me for pointing it out and asking questions when I'm not the one trying to do anything to them? And it's not just me. It's people like me who think about this stuff. And I know who some of you are. There are a few of them on my Facebook friends list. But I think if you want to be angry, you need to redirect that anger at the people who are doing you harm or who are seeking to do you harm. I'm not that person. I'm a nobody. I make videos to try to get people to think and challenge them to be skeptical. And I may or may not have any influence on anyone doing that. Best case scenario, at least it's, helps me get stuff off my chest. But, you guys have to decide what's important to you and what's not. So, again, I just want you to look at that. And again, I'm going to post some links for you to look at. One in particular you might want to pay attention to is the map showing all the locations where various food producing plants have been burned down or blown up? Could it happen? Could someone be behind this? Could it, in fact, be a conspiracy of like minds who would benefit from you having less access to food and more access to the food they are presenting to you? Are there people in the world who are just that evil? What do you think? Now, you know what I think about it, but what do you think? Do you think there are people who try to do that to you? Anyway, just again, more food for thought. Do what you will with it, but I just wonder what's going on with all that. It strikes me as a little odd, but I tend to be more skeptical than the average American. Okay, you guys have a good evening, and I'll see you the next time I need to rant. Bye.